Hello everyone, I am Conquering History Games and welcome back to part 2 of my CSA World Tour campaign here in Hearts of Iron for Moereich. So, I hope you enjoyed that song, but we are actually going to have Jack Reed and the Syndicates take charge, and look at that, they got a hat! He's got a hat just like Michael Collins. I have said this before, Moereich, you're missing hats, welcome home. But let's take a look at, the America First Party is mad. We didn't win the election. Wah! George Manhorn Mosley. Important note, has displayed strong anti-immigrant and anti-Semitic views both publicly and privately. Oh goodness. What other kind of important notes I wonder there are out here? Let's see, damn, Joseph Stilwell. Wow, Joseph Stilwell didn't get a bio? Anyway, we're approaching the war now, so we want to get Dispersed Industry 2 out, hopefully. Time. That's a big hopefully. Who's criticizing the president? Get over it, you lost. You're a loser. The who? The her. Wow, check out, does Omar Bradley have an eye patch? No. No eye patch. Important notes, born from a family that fought in the Civil War, MacArthur is willing to do whatever it is necessary to keep America as a united, great, and free country. Really looking forward to, I think it's the American Union state that is supposed to next get, trailer. That should be pretty cool. I wonder if the Pacific states will get one. So, like, they're supposed to react to the MacArthur coup. I suppose they would get one. People probably are not super hyped for that. Not saying they should not be, but I would imagine the Pacific states, they just don't get enough love. Let's grab, because it doesn't really matter, does it? Oh yeah, let's get Great White Fleet or something. But now we just kill time until Inauguration Day, pretty much, and figure out what are these last minute things that we could research. We can get this done before the war begins, but I think that's it. I think we can get radio done, and maybe if we're lucky we'll be able to get Dispersed Industry done, but besides that, we are locked in for the war, or for the CSA's technologies. Did we look at El Salvador? Ooh, heterochromatic eyes. Maybe she's a robot! Looks like Finland has joined in the war against Russia. Don Kuban Union gonna get some? Nah, not really. They're not getting in there. Look at all the Chinas we have. How's Indochina doing? Very good so far. Yeah, they got more divisions. Not so hot on the civilian factories and stuff, but good start for the Indo-Chinese Union. Anything that'll screw up the Kaiser. Paul's gonna lose. It's Spain. If we looked at Liberia, Edwin Barclay, social conservative. Okay, we got some anti-air stuff here, the bigger light tanks. A little over 2 weeks until it's Inauguration Day. This is the slowest part between the election and inauguration. Just got to get your affairs in order before you bend over, put your head between your knees, and kiss this country goodbye. Because it's gonna blow up. This Dwight Eisenhower looks nice. What are some of let me know in the comments, what are some of your favorite designs on different generals and things like that. Alright, that's done. We still got time for maybe one more thing. I don't know. Cruisers or something? It don't matter. None of this matter. Oh, did I not switch out the pea shooter? Thought I had done that. My bad. There goes. The Saudis have won. Took them long enough. President Reed's inaugural address. The country's social problems have forced the American people to turn to radical solutions. The two-party system is broken down, and Jack Reed is to be sworn in as the 31st President of the United States, with Norman Thomas being sworn in as the Vice President. In a stirring speech in Washington, D.C., Reed has pledged to defend the interests of the workers and work to help revolutionize society for the good of all Americans. However, the SPA's slim majority in Congress means that it may find it challenging to pass meaningful legislation, especially in the Senate, where the AFP has promised to filibuster any law it sees as detrimental to America. Let the people rejoice! No shame about Guy is. So I think, I'm trying to remember when the break-offs are going to happen. I think the break-offs are going to happen in March. Executive Order 7080, an executive order that forced state and federal governments to recognize a union's right to exist and engage in collective bargaining without exception, thus forbidding yellow dog contracts. For the union makes us strong. Russia, this is really interesting. Look, they're kind of mounting a bit of a comeback here. The North, they lost some territory down here, but it's already, this already is not so cut and dry as far as Russia's going to straight up win. Still waiting on the Spanish Civil War. From New York to San Francisco, the rich and powerful protested Reed's election in the Hearst newspapers and in congressional addresses. It's clear that the upper class is furious at the enforcement of Executive Order 7080 and have begun to radicalize against the SPA as a result. Let reactionaries shout. Because you know we make them want to shout. No, hear back and shout. Come on now. Come on now. I'm being a little too silly. Now wait a minute. The opposition denounces Reed. Yeah, they will denounce Reed. No, okay, enough. They're just mad as hell, comparing President Reed to Vladimir Lenin, almost gloating that Reed would share Lenin's fate. Stay mad, bourgeois. Stay eternally mad. Getting worked. They're friggin' seething. Ugh, creepy pariah one. Executive Order 7089, directing the Secretary of Commerce to temporarily take possession of and operate the facilities of certain financial companies. Reed has moved to nationalize the banks of Wall Street to force them to act in the public rather than the private good. A filibuster by Senator Roosevelt, I believe that's Quentin Roosevelt, has forced Reed to resort to an executive order appealing yet again to national security. While popular with the lower classes, many fear that Reed is drunk on power and well on his way to declare himself a tyrant the rich shall not pay. Nah, it's for the workers, bro. Did it for the people, bro. Adelbart, my bad, not Adelbart. Supreme Court hears challenges to Reed's executive orders. Case brought to Paul Maddock has argued that Standard Oil's monopolistic power has overtaken democratic power. The accusation of Standard Oil bribing the Boston City Council is being taken very seriously. The nation waits to see if Reed's power will be checked or whether the SPA will continue to enact their agendas in defiance of the Senate. Damn reactionaries! I don't know if I talked about this in one. I feel like I might have, but there was this book I read. I just saw it. I was doing some research on the Supreme Court, and then I saw on the shelf this book called 9 Men Against America. What is this? Directing Executive Order 7100, directing the Secretary of the Interior to temporarily take possession of and operate the facilities of certain mining companies. That's pretty straightforward. So it was called 9 Men Against America, and it was written by, I don't remember the author's name, but just look up the name, 9 Men Against America. But it was written by somebody immediate in the aftermath of the Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court decision, which is one of the most famous Supreme Court decisions in U.S. history, and is like, it's one of those ones that is it's universally, I feel pretty confident actually saying it is a universally agreed upon correct decision to make because it overturned segregation legally. Let's read this back in the court thing first, and then I'll elaborate on that book. Okay. Although Reed has shown no sign of concern over Standard Oil versus Paul Maddock in public, his administration is concerned that the conservative leading Supreme Court could rule 7-2 in favor of the capitalists and revert whatever reforms had already been put in place. Citing Lincoln's court packing during the Civil War as precedent, Reed had asked Senate Majority Leader Mayor London to remove the filibuster for judicial appointees, as has increased the size of the Supreme Court to 15. It's clear that he intends to appoint 6 pro-socialist judges to the bench, which will ensure his executive orders will remain constitutional. This has provoked a firestorm of protest, even from the left-leaning farmer, labor, and progressive parties, which had up until now remained neutral or supportive of Reed. We must defend the workers, whatever it takes. Of course, referencing Roosevelt's court packing thing. Yeah, so the 9 Men Against America, though, it was just this book going on and on about how awful the Supreme Court was, and it has way too much power. specifically a certain type of power, meaning Roosevelt's appointees. But like they were going after everybody. They went after every single person on the Supreme Court that was active, from like basically as soon as Roosevelt was there, even if he hadn't appointed them until like what was it? Yeah, the late 50s when the book's written. Violence and chaos spreads, clashes between the Minutemen and Red Guard. But like, it was just so astounding reading this thing because it's like saying how even like conservative the judges were being way too liberal and they were false conservatives, and saying that the Brown v. Board of Education was wrong. Someone stop Long. What are these Minutemen up to? Let me tell you. A lot of blondes here. I think it's kind of funny how in at least from what I've seen of anime, there's a stereotype that all Americans are blonde. MacArthur marches into Washington. Shoot, thought I had more time. You know what? I think I still have more time. 13 days. I think we could just barely get radio done. Reed's support in D.C. has no, they're on their own. Reed's support in D.C. has finally bottomed out. General Douglas MacArthur has marched into Washington, D.C. today to arrest Reed and his cabinet at the White House. MacArthur's marchers reminded many in D.C. of Cox's army of 1932, except these men are motivated to preserve the status quo and were cheered instead of booed, having been tipped off by SPA informants in MacArthur's command staff. Tipped off, huh? Interesting. Reed was able to stay ahead of the traitorous general and has escaped to Chicago. MacArthur has chosen to inhabit the White House and coordinate an investigation into Reed from the executive chair. Civil war is imminent. White peace is signed, and excellent. The Indo-Chinese Union has won. I don't know if they're going to stay alive. Siam can sometimes... It's tough sometimes for them, but that's good. They've weakened the Germans, and before we, of course there's going to be this is a world conquest run, as I've said, but our first priority is going to have to be Europe, because France and Germany will go to war. The Pacific, the Pacific is certainly going to be something. Alright, so my allegiance was to the Republic, MacArthur, to democracy! Alright, I think these are going to finish at exactly the same time. Good. Alright, we got radio, we're set for war. That's what matters. This, freaking, just going to waste their time now. Welcome. Alright, President Reed escapes to Chicago. President Reed has escaped to Chicago and declared that MacArthur is a traitor to all the people of America. His calls have gained a great deal of support in the Steel Belt, and a number of governors have already announced that they do not recognize the illegitimate authority of the current government. They have closed off their borders to American soldiers, raising a chilling specter of the Civil War the country experienced less than a century ago. The revolution has begun. Stand by the workers. Okay, let's just take a quick peek here. So right now we got 5%, 26%, 16%. Okay, the Syndicalists are definitely the stronger party. Hopefully we'll come away with at least 16.6% popularity in the CSA for them. Hopefully more, of course. Plays the CSA. Here we go. Alright, stop! Stop! Let's take a look at our situation now. Okay, we have the Revolutionary Militia. Did they lower the organization even more on this? Alright, so our organization is down by 20%. Our planning speed is down by 50%, but we get some better recovery rate at least. Okay. Unionists start at 62%. We've got 14% radical socialists. So if we want to go Federalist faction, we've got a big hole to climb out of. But, there's a war to be fought, and there'll be plenty of events along the way. Okay, the Navy and stuff, this shit can wait. We're going to do Red National Guard, because, yeah, I believe I already have committed to mobile warfare. Yeah, so everything is there that we researched. Radio. Excellent. Oh, you know what? Was I about to get dispersed? No, I don't think I was. Never mind. Okay, so we got a lot to do here. Let's go just left to right. All right, civilian factories. Start making some military factories first. We're going to do Red National Guard. The Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Ohio National Guards all stayed loyal to the will of the American people. We need to encourage these guardians of freedom, to have the tools they need to win this war. Gives me war support and army experience. Okay, next, military factories. That's all we can do now. Let's queue some things up, though. And then we'll disperse them later. We still have some more. We definitely want to come back here. And... IO. All right, we have Reed's Own here. Look at all these. I think we get all these templates. I think this is one of the changes they made, because I know that they were changing things a lot in a short amount of time over a series of updates, trying to perfect the Civil War. So I think what they do now is you don't spawn an army with all of this, but you do get the templates available to you, so you can customize your own army. Anyway, obviously Smedley. Oh, look at all these cuties we have here. Smedley's going to be in charge. Oh, nice. Was he a commando before? Defensive Doctrine, Charismatic. Very good stuff. We might do Organization. Might as well stack all that recovery rate, right? But Camouflage Expert might be pretty good, too. Because we might not be able to have... what do you call it? Air Superiority. Artillery Specialist. I want somebody to get this, hopefully. Alright, what we're going to do now is... We can only get one trait for him. He's not an organizer. Even though he will be eventually. But by the time he has enough experience to be an organizer, he'll probably have leveled up by then, so then we can get one of these. So for now, yeah, we'll go ahead and get... Oh, well, actually, we can't. Get organization first. Alright, anyway. Support. We want that. We want... I think we'll get 100 Army XP in less than half a year, so we can wait on that. We instead want... Yeah, Dispersed Industry. We want this. We want that. We want... What do we want? And when do we want it? Terrific new Navy tree, by the way. I don't think I talked about this in a campaign yet. Okay. Got some free dockyards. Just going to be convoys for now. Right. And our first general we're going to use is... Let's get... Let's see. We have our 2 3s and a bunch of 1s. Herbert here, I'm probably going to upgrade at some point. I'm gonna well, both of these guys. These two are going to be my field marshals of the future at some point. So they may as well get some experience on the ground now. Then again, here we go. We got Milton Wolfe. Milton Wolfe's pretty cool. Here's our inflexible strategist. Yeah, these two will definitely be field marshals in the future. So how about for now, we get Herbert Charles here. Yeah. Right. We need to... Figuring out what these lines are all going to look like. Right, there goes the AUS. Standoff in America. A tense standoff has erupted in the United States as democratically elected President Reed fled to the city of Chicago after being forcibly removed from his position by General Douglas MacArthur. From Chicago, Reed's supporters have declared MacArthur's government illegitimate, as has the Southern supporters of Huey Long based in New Orleans and the Pacific governors under the leadership of Governor Frank Merriman. All have been given a deadline by General MacArthur of 30 days to either stand down or face arrest and execution. Considering all sides are rapidly raising forces, the idea that America seems headed into a second civil war seems almost certain. So this is one of the new things they do now is you get time to build up your army just for a little bit. And this is another one of the new things, Civil War. The second American Civil War is here, and we must bring about a victory within it for America. So this is a thing where the CSA, if you have full control of your states, you can for free recruit supporters, and then it'll give you a certain amount of militia units. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to try to quickly recruit supporters in Pennsylvania, because this is going to give me 19 whole militia units. And the name of the game right now is we have got to just fill the front line. You know, before we think about offense, defense, we just need to make sure we don't have these, just this wide open space for anybody to walk in. Indo-Chinese revolt succeeds with the tenacity and fury of the Viet Minh troops driving German troops out of nearly all strategic points on the Indo-Chinese peninsula. The German Foreign Office finally agreed to meet the leaders of the rebellion and offered full independence to the entire land they claim. Excellent, a devastating blow for colonialism. I wonder what path they will go. Definitely go check out my, oh nice, legacy of Ho Chi Minh there. Go check out my Indo-Chinese campaign. I got pretty darn big. Riots in New England. In recent days, syndicalist militias have been struggling and failing to take control of New England states, from New York all the way up to the coast of Maine. So far, governors in the region have clamped down hard on the violence, though the result has been a series of violent riots in Boston and Buffalo. Not to mention a wave of uprisings still ongoing within New York City itself. Citizens are on edge, and governors have denied the federal government permission to raise local militias in the area, fearful of increasing tensions further. A few New England governors are reported to be quietly asking the Canadian government to intervene should worse come to worse. Interesting. Why do we lose stability? I guess we didn't. Hold on a second. Can I no longer get New Jersey, and do I no longer get that? Oh, man, that's some bullshit. Alright, 15 more days. Syndicalists take control in Minnesota. Oh, okay, shoot, this isn't gonna work. Alright. Violence by syndicalist militia groups expanded to the city of Minneapolis and the surrounding region, with blockades erected on roads and the Minneapolis airport reportedly invaded by several armed groups. Before the violence could expand, the governor of Minnesota declared the state's allegiance to Jack Reed's cause and ordered the state's National Guard divisions to stand down. We welcome them. Illinois General Assembly invites the IWW. The state legislature of Illinois has invited the industrial workers of the world to discuss the current crisis and the looming deadline issued by the federal government. Jack Reed accepted this offer and held an informal meeting with several trade union leaders prior. Reed made it clear that the situation was dire and the SPA would need to unite behind the IWW in order to survive the coming conflict. This silent agreement meant that the traditional SPA leadership would be reorganized along industrial unionist lines, with each union representative allowed a single vote. The SPA immediately and unanimously pledged their support for a social revolution through direct action, not diplomacy. So say we all. Nice, we got some Battlestar Galactica references. Sweet, pretty sweet. Alright, these guys are going to be up in the cold winds of the Midwest. This is going to be a rough spot to live in. Okay. We have a decent amount of, split these up, of an Air Force. Pretty nice one. We'll distribute that in time. Oh, the Army's getting all over my ass. Look at the U.S. Look at how fast how do they have? I've got one division. Which is because MacArthur has the Army behind him. He gets to have all that. Nice. Syndicalists victorious in New York. The battle between syndicalist and militia forces in New York City all the way down south into New Jersey has ended with the syndicalist forces declaring victory. While they have not extended their control to the rest of New York State. Yep. Boy, my mic keeps moving. Up at you. While they have not extended their control to the rest of New York State, the governor having declared an emergency and blockading bridges leading into the city itself, the most populated areas of both states are now firmly under syndicalist control, with barricades already being erected along the southern borders of New Jersey State. A welcome victory. Excellent. And we got some more dockyards off that. What do we got here? Just carriers, dreadnoughts. You know what? No, we gotta pick one. It's in class. Just look at cruisers only. There we go. Use something like that. Appointing the leader of the Revolutionary Military, the Central Committee has released a directive to appoint a member to be the chief of staff of and the guide of the whole revolution military to victory against all reactionary capitalist and counter-revolutionary forces. The man that they chose for this position was... not Butler. He gets all that special forces stuff because he was a Marine. We got Rose, who's good for armor. But I think Oliver Law is the guy for the Civil War, at least. War organization and recovery rate. Second International Congress. Our British comrades have confirmed their readiness to host the Second International Congress in London. It is time for the combined syndicates to confirm its participation. Favorite of the loading screens. It's just so silly. Cat girl maids. Of course, we are going to attend. Maybe they can tell Keeney to get off our ass and build an army. Not that we have much to say. We've only got one division. Jack Reed declares the April Revolution. In the Illinois General Assembly, Reed delivered a fiery broadcast describing the wealth of America and the syndicates, declaring that direct action against capitalist society was a vital necessity for all Americans, and that the federal government's deadlines must not only be ignored, it must be defied. Telegrams from the Third International poured in to support Reed's SPA, exciting the attendance. A vote was called to begin reforming the American capitalist economy into an anarcho-syndicalist economy. This referendum, signed by the attendants, declared the Federal Reserve null and void. The IWW was appointed the labor chamber for the new syndicalist government, and the selling of company shares declared illegal. The representatives, satisfied with their success, have returned to Chicago to organize the armed revolution, e pluribus unum. 3 more days and we're going to have more militia. Right. And my click is finally gone. Alright, Federalists overtake southern Texas. Let a day go by here. Hold on a second, everybody. While the state of Texas has firmly declared its allegiance to Huey Long, forces loyal to the federal government have been in hot contention for control and so far have managed to obtain victory through the southern regions of the state. Governor James Allred has been declared a traitor by southern mayors who appear determined to face off against their brethren in the rest of the state should the Civil War begin in earnest. Interesting. That's a big blow. There's a lot of good stuff here. Building a Red Navy, the admirals of the United States have prevented any of their ships from being liberated by the workers, and thus we are deprived of a navy. To solve that, those admirals that joined the revolution and the countless dock workers are planning on building up a new navy. We do have quite a number of ships in New York that we can convert to warships. We can either go with destroyers or cruisers. What shall we go for? Whichever we go for, we get 15% production cost reduction for 3 years. We're going to go with cruisers. Not that any of this stuff is... We're not going to use the Navy. We'll get blasted out of the water. Look at this. Look at what the U.S. has. What do we have? 4? Wow. Freaking spectacular, isn't it? Who can we go with? Submarine attack, retreat decision. Yeah, Moereich. It ain't much, though. Alright, so we've got 19 divisions here. First thing we need to do is let's get them along here. It's a bit of a stretch, but we can fix it up later. I'm pretty sure Canada's going to take New England. We will find out. Isn't that great, too? The 1st Pennsylvania Revolutionary Militia, etc., etc. Although some of these are different templates. These are 12 widths. These ones are militias. Alright, well, the point, and they're green. Green as goose shit. Isn't that just the best? But we'll have Maurice Rose in charge of them, at least for now. Let's go with something like... Okay, new decisions are available. So now I'm a little bit worried about if we're going to lose any of this land, because the war is about to start here. So let's go with Michigan, I think. Michigan gives me 10. Illinois would give me... Damn, Illinois would give me 16. Do I risk it for the biscuit? New York City gives me 15. Let's go for New York City. I'm just, because like, they're already on the border. Nice. Iowa declares its support for Reed, with both Cedar Rapids and Iowa City having been overtaken by syndicalist militia forces. Governor of Iowa today declared support for Jack Reed and demanded that federal forces withdraw from the state. While most doubt that Governor Kreschel has any syndicalist sympathies, it's clear he foresaw a quick collapse of the state once the war began and elected to switch sides before things went too far. Several reports of riots in Des Moines have preceded the withdrawal of loyalist forces from the region. We welcome them. Now we need a leader. I think I'm going Benjamin here. More army experience gain, org loss and looting, planning speed, division organization can go up with Hans, as well as surprise consumption down. I like the spearhead doctrine guy. Reminds me? Let's cue some of that up too. Just a bit. We're gonna go... Benjamin Katin. In fact, let's take a look at him and his story. Where is he? Right here. Pretty short. Benjamin Katin is a mechanic and an electrician of some renown in New York, joining the Industrial Workers of the World militia as soon as they started recruitment. Becoming popular amongst the automobile unions, he was voted as an officer in February of 1937. Was chosen by the Central Staff as a general. Despite the automotive unions backing his position, Katin still has a lot to learn before becoming a valuable general for the CSA. So he was elected in, and so as you can see, he has no traits, and he's all ones. We're trusting in him, though. general strike moves on the Federal Reserve. The general strike, whose goals have been to protect workers from federal tyranny, now move to seize the means of production. The Red Guard have ordered an evacuation of Lower Manhattan in order to both seize the gold in the Federal Reserve Bank as well as to dismantle Wall Street. In this delegation were reporters who were allowed to watch congressmen carry safe boxes away for safekeeping in Chicago. These items are put under the trust of the IWW, whom have elected Norman Thomas as their undersecretary. As Norman Thomas is holding 2 offices right now. Several SPA politicians were arrested in Washington, D.C. for meeting outside the Eccles building, ordering the Federal Reserve Chairman Eugene Black to hear their petition. Release those men now. Oh, and also the Olympics. Maybe we'll win. Who knows? Who knows? But that's cool that we got Iowa. Gives us some breathing room here. Deadline looms. As the federal government's deadline looms, it has become clear there will be no budging on either side. Across the part of the country controlled by Reed's supporters, militia has been raised in large numbers, and a growing determination to see the country remade in a syndicalist image by force has taken hold. The federal government, in turn, has also made it clear they see no path to compromise. It's only a matter of time. Air Force, I don't really care about this too much. I guess we're going to go Air Superiority, Eddie August Schneider. Let's talk about Maurice Rose here. Not Maurice Rose, General Herbert Karlheiks. That's Japan, huh? Anyway, this general was born in a German immigrant family and would sign up for West Point in 1913, graduating in 1917 as an infantry second lieutenant. He was first assigned to the Quartermaster Corps of the Army's Reserve in Georgia, reaching the rank of first lieutenant in 1920 and captain in 1923. In 1925, while he was still in the Reserve Corps, he transferred to the Cavalry Corps and was assigned as assistant professor of history and social sciences at West Point. In late 1929, he was transferred to the Army's Cavalry School at Fort Riley and remained in this position until early 1937, earning the promotion to colonel in 1934. As soon as street violence began escalating, Heitke decided to resign and move back to New York with his family, signing up for the local Red Guard, where his military experience granted him a promotion from Smedley Butler himself. Now a general of the Syndicalist Army, Holdridge has become, along with Maurice Rose and Smedley Butler, one of the few military generals of the U.S. Army to join the revolution, hence why he is a skill level 3. He has some decent stuff going on. What is Japan up to, though? They haven't made their choice yet, what path they're going down. And here we go. Now the fun begins, but seeing how far into the episode we are gonna stop it there as we declare war on our 3 enemies. I will see you all in the next episode. I am Conquering History Games, and I don't want to say we're gonna fight the whole war in the next episode, but it's probably gonna be a pretty long one. Probably. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Enjoy the song. Click my buttons. I'll see you then. Bye.
Should I ever be a soldier, neath the red flag I would fight. Should have gun I ever shoulder, it's to crush the bias's mind. Join the army of the toilers, men and women fall in line. Wage slaves, the world arouse, do your duty for the cause, for workers' liberty. They're spending billions every year for guns and munitions, their army and their navy dear, to keep in good condition, while millions lie in misery and billions die before us. Don't sing my country 'tis of thee, just sing this little chorus. Should I ever be a soldier, neath the red flag I will fight. Should a gun I ever shoulder, it's to crush the boss's might. Join progressive labor parties, men and women fall in line. Wage slaves of the world aroused, do your duty for the cause, for workers' liberty.